I'm going to be sharing with you a list that has been released today. Now, this list is the list of nuclear warning list for the United States. Now, we're hearing that what is unfolding right now is that as a result of the United States allowing Ukraine to take their missiles and use them against Russia, Russia has now responded and said, all right, if that's how the United States wants to play it, now Russia is saying they are putting together the list of nations that are enemies, adversaries of the United States that would like to have their hands on some missiles to strike the United States. Now, they're going to be sharing with you the list of these. And we've also heard that at this time, as we've seen, that there have been nuclear capable vessels that have made their way from Russia to Cuba to do drills. Also coming out today, we're hearing that Belarus has said that they are joining alongside of Russia, performing nuclear testing and drills as well, should a conflict arise in the West. So other nations that are against the United States are saying they're making their preparations. And in addition to that, one of the big ones that is on this list and is in the headlines today is Mexico. That is right. Russia is saying that Mexico would love nothing more to be able to strike the United States, that they are actually an enemy to the U.S., and they're saying that they are planning to equip them with missiles as well. I'm going to be sharing with you the latest. As I mentioned, this just came out today, June the 10th, 2024. We're seeing this across Russian news media outlets, and there are now news articles coming out on this as well. So I'm going to be sharing with you the various nations that have been brought up in this, as Russia is saying, all right, United States, you want to supply our enemies with missiles to hit us? We're now going to be putting together a list and supplying your enemies with missiles to hit you. And if they choose to do so, that is on them. So Russia is now talking about distributing their nuclear weapons to other nations to fight against the United States. And they're saying so that way the U.S. could essentially be hit from any side, from any nation. They are planning to distribute those nuclear weapons. And in addition to that, as I mentioned, we're going to be talking about as well, articles linked in the description, Belarus now saying they are going to be conducting nuclear drills alongside of Russia. They are now conducting these drills in preparation for conflict. They're saying with NATO, the West, the U.S., as things seem to be intensifying with World War III. Now, let me know your thoughts in the comments. I see we've got about 730 people on. Are you concerned about Russia deploying essentially other nuclear weapons to our enemies? And the big one here in the headlines today is Mexico. And I'm going to be sharing with you all the list of them. Let me know, is this concerning to you that this is taking place? Yeah, I see Lynn saying, thank you as always, Steve, for telling us about what's going on. You are very welcome. Somebody saying it's very concerning. Yes, essentially handing out these nuclear weapons to our enemies, to our adversaries, and saying, here you go, choose to do with them what you will. But I'm going to be covering the details for you in this video. And do me a favor, if you appreciate the updates and knowing exactly what's going on, please hit that like button for me so that way you can stay notified. Subscribe to stay up to date. It's totally free. Why not? And also pinned in the comments is the steveramnews.com newsletter to stay connected in case social media platforms go down. Jack Quigley, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Says, you should cover the high tensions between France and Russia. France, who is in NATO as well. Yes, there has been a lot of back and forth between France and Russia as well. You are totally right. French President Macron is not having it. He is threatening right back, and they're saying that they're concerned that French could be one of the ones, French could be one of the ones that escalates these things with Russia, potentially forcing NATO into a war with Russia. So we will see. Hey, there's Ingrid, Charlie. Let's see here. Hey, hit that like button, y'all, says BA Technologies. Thank you so much for the support, BA. Thank you so much, Ingrid, for supporting the channel, hitting that join button. Do me a favor again, hit the like button if you appreciate the updates. I see we've got about 870 people, 200 likes. If I could get 200 more, that's half the room. That would be awesome. I'm seeing some people saying they are not concerned with what's going on right now. KG asking Mexico. Yes, that is right. Russia saying that they are taking into consideration deploying ICBMs, nuclear weapons, missiles to the enemies of the U.S. They're saying you did it to us with Ukraine. Maybe we'll do it back to you with a list of other nations. And we're seeing Belarus. We're seeing Cuba running drills. Belarus saying that they're going to run drills alongside of Russia as well. And I'm going to be sharing with you all the nations that are involved. So let's go ahead and dive right in. And now this article, as I mentioned, they're all linked in the description. I cite all the sources so that way you know it is the latest. Now, this article coming out from Newsweek says Kremlin propagandists, they are claiming that the countries in Latin America, including Mexico, they could host and could strike American targets. Now, the comments were made on program 60 Minutes, whose anchors and guests make frequent threats against the West, and they also frame Vladimir Putin's full-scale invasion of Ukraine as proxy wars between Moscow and NATO. Now, Kiev has long argued that it needed to be able to strike targets on Russian territory, especially Moscow's forces made rapid gains in the border areas of Kharkiv's region. Washington finally gave the go-ahead for its weapons to be used in this way, albeit with caveats. Now, in a monologue, host Evgeny Popov referred to comments by President Joe Biden that the U.S. gave permission for Kiev to use weapons to hit Russia, which did not mean that they could use it to hit Moscow or any other government buildings. But they are acknowledging the fact that they were very upset. And this is when things really turned a couple weeks ago, was when President Joe Biden changed that stance, saying that Ukraine could use U.S. weapons against Russia. And this comes after we'd heard Russia say that any nation that provides Ukraine with long-range missiles to strike Russia would be held accountable, and it could lead to World War III. Now, Popov concluded that by merely mentioning this, Biden showed that these thoughts, they do exist somewhere in the back of his mind. And he's referring to Ukraine using this on the government of Moscow and on their buildings. The clip then showed Popov's wife and the co-anchor reporting from the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum, where she said that Putin had addressed how to respond to deliveries to Ukraine of high-precision long-range missiles and permission to use weapons on Russian territory. She said one asymmetric response from Moscow would be to deliver missiles to those nations that are willing to strike our enemies, and lists the allies. Now, here are some of them. There's going to be more here in just a second, but these are the ones: Venezuela, Cuba, and North Korea. Now, we've already heard that Russia, they're talking about, could be distributing these to China, to North Korea, also to Iran. Now, also we have here Venezuela, Cuba, and we're already seeing those vessels, those nuclear-capable submarines and vessels going from Russia down to Cuba, and also North Korea is listed here as well. Now, there's going to be more here in a second. It says another more traditional option would obviously be to a nuclear strike as soon as we see an existential threat to our nation, she said, repeating Kremlin rhetoric about the undefined red lines for nuclear weapon use. Now, the clip posted by journalists and Russian watchers, so this is being posted, this is actually coming up on X, this clip of this announcement of what they're saying that could be the next moves here. Watchers, Julia Davis on June 9th posted it, showed Popov back in the studio and in front of a map of friendly jurisdictions of Russia, which included, and here are some more: Yemen, Iran, Serbia, Nicaragua, and Mexico. So these are some of the nations they're saying that they're considering distributing nuclear arms and missiles to the enemies of the United States. Now, Russia's on Kremlin State TV yesterday declared that Mexico was their military ally. So Russia is saying that Mexico is on their side. It is their ally, and they are wanting to place their missiles on Mexican territory so that Mexico has the ability to attack the United States. Jake Bro, a former U.S. Air Force nuclear missile operations officer, posted on X, and he posted, "This is insane. Mexico has condemned Putin's invasion of Ukraine, but they have adopted a policy of neutrality and have refused to participate in the sanctions against Moscow." Newsweek has contacted the Mexican Foreign Ministry for comments. One guest, Alexei Fanenko, a researcher, fellow of Moscow's Institute in International Security Studies, asked Popov, "I keep thinking, when will we finally show a map of where our missiles can strike the United States and not where the American missiles can strike us?" So they're talking about, why is it that we're showing all these maps of how the U.S. can hit Russia? Let's start putting together a map of where Russia can hit the U.S. And in addition to that, as we mentioned, they're now distributing it to other nations as well. So that way the United States could be hit by various different locations that we will see on the map. Now, this proposed map, it could show how Anchorage, Honolulu, Seattle, Guam, San Francisco are within our reach. Why don't we show them this kind of map? So again, if you're wondering which ones they're saying that they believe they already can hit within the United States that are in striking distance that they have positioned, that's Anchorage, Honolulu, Seattle, Guam, and San Francisco. Now, they will scream that Russians are villains and scoundrels, Fanenko said. Yes, you are at risk of retaliatory strikes, referring to those cities that I just mentioned. Davis wrote next to the clip how hosts and pundits on Russian state TV praised Putin for his threats against the West and claimed that there are billions of people who would love to be able to strike the United States with Russian-made missiles. So they're saying that there are lots of nations out there that would be happy to do so, and they are planning they're saying they could be potentially planning. I don't want to say planning because it hasn't been made official yet, but there are talks now. And we heard Russian President Vladimir Putin say that he could be doing this. He said, well, we're going to be equipping our allies. Now, the articles had originally said China, Iran, North Korea, but now we're getting a much more extensive list and more strategic positioning to be closer to hit various parts of the United States. So they're saying that there are plenty of countries, billions of people that would be happy to essentially strike the U.S. It comes as the U.S. State Department told Newsweek in a statement on Sunday that Russia was engaging in dangerous and irresponsible nuclear rhetoric. And again, that was Sunday. That was just yesterday. I've been sharing with you that ever since Biden flipped the stance and allowed Ukraine to strike Russia, saying it was okay, it was permissible, that everything has changed and intensified just recently in the past week or so. For the past 2 years, the United States has been warning Ukraine, do not use U.S. weapons against Russia because we're concerned about escalating tensions, equating to a conflict between the U.S. and NATO against Russia and leading to World War III. That has all changed, and now we are seeing tensions escalating just as they were concerned of. Now, National Security Council Arms Control official Pranay Vadi said last week that the U.S. may deploy more strategic nuclear weapons to deter the threats posed by Moscow, China, and other adversaries, prompting Beijing to accuse Washington of undermining nuclear disarmament and non-proliferation. And I shared that with you. We received that warning from China. China coming out and saying, the United States, you're hypocritical. You're over here telling other nations that they can't build their nuclear arms, but you're doing it and you're supporting your allies and saying that the United States is having bad behavior and they need to take into consideration potential repercussions that could be coming. China also telling the United States, do not take Russia's threats as bluffs. Do not take them lightly. But a State Department spokesperson said that Washington believes in the value of diplomacy, in arms control and non-proliferation measures. Such measures are especially important now when nuclear risks are increasing due to Russia's ongoing, unprovoked, full-scale invasion of Ukraine and development of a new anti-satellite weapon carrying a nuclear device, they said in a statement. And I've covered that for you as well. Concerns about satellites and nuclear threats in space from Russia, too. Now, if Russia and China remain unwilling and instead take further steps to increase the salience of nuclear weapons, we may have no choice but to adjust our posture and capabilities as needed to preserve deterrence and stability, they added. And I shared that with you live yesterday as well. The U.S. warning coming out, they issued a statement of concern regarding the breakneck pace, were the actual words that were used, of the nuclear weaponry of our adversaries, saying that the U.S. needs to make some strategic changes. What we are doing right now with our nuclear arms, it's not going to be keeping up, and we could be at a potential risk, endangerment, as a result of what our enemies are doing. We need to speed up. We need to keep up. We need to figure something out, because right now, what we are doing right now, what the Biden administration is doing, it is not working, and there is major concern with threats from other nations. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you foresee Russia doing this, distributing these nuclear weapons and missiles to our adversaries? Do you see that there could potentially be hits against the United States from other nations? Russia saying this is what the U.S. did to us, so now we're going to do it back to you. U.S. supplying Ukraine with U.S. missiles, striking Russia. Russia saying we're going to be supplying Mexico and other nations that are not fans of the United States with these missiles to strike the United States. Let me know your thoughts. I see somebody saying this is pathetic. Somebody saying Brandon needs to go right now. Trump 2024. That says Patty Tatum. This is really crazy, and I cannot believe this is happening, says Zion Eris. It's already too late, says Paul. Trump 2024 says Patty Tatum. Melissa, nope, Trump. Steve, our president 2024 says Brian, track hurricanes. Maybe we'll make a run for presidency. Brian, what do you think? Babylon is falling, says Kez Nyite. Yes, I can see this happening, Steve, says Susie Q. A new president won't matter, says Carl. If you put God first, there is nothing to worry about, says Maria. Yeah, this is crazy, says Beatrice Archilla. Yeah, there is a whole lot going on. Zion Eris saying hit that like button. Thank you so much for that. I see we've almost got 1,400 people live with me in the room. If I can get another 150 likes, that would be 700. If you haven't done so yet and you appreciate the updates, please hit the like button. I know it's not what anybody wants to hear. We don't want to hear about things intensifying with conflict, potential war, nuclear war with the United States, Russia, NATO. But I do believe that we shouldn't stick our heads in the sand and pretend like nothing's happening. We need to be aware of what's taking place and take whatever necessary steps, precautions we can to keep ourselves and our families safe. That's what I believe. I believe that knowledge is power. Us knowing what's going on is half of the battle. And so therefore, I'm just trying to do my best to make sure I share the latest and you guys know exactly what's going on. And again, if you appreciate that, hit that like button for me. To stay updated, hit subscribe, totally free. And to join the free newsletter as well. It's pinned in the comments, Steve Ram News, just in case social media platforms go down, you're unable to get on YouTube or any other social media platforms, and you want what is happening, join steveramnews.com. You can still be connected via email. Watch Your Six says, hey, Steve, every time I tune in, I end up buying more ammo. God bless. Yeah, I don't think that that's a bad idea right now with everything that is going on in the world. Not a bad idea. A lot of people stocking up on stuff. I'm trying to make sure that people have resources, what to do if there's electrical failures, the newsletter, and also additional meds. All those resources linked in the description, along with the articles I'm referencing cited as well, so you can read them for yourself. And ammo, I don't think is a bad idea. I've heard people talk about gold, silver, precious metals, ammunition, all that stuff, food, water, having a backup generator, a lot of stuff just prepped and ready just in case. I don't think it's a bad idea to be a prepper right now with the way that things are going. I know that it just seems like things are intensifying. We've got elections going on this year. We're getting all these threats and warnings from the FBI. And Russia just outright coming out and saying a lot of aggressive stuff against the United States, especially since the Biden administration flipped its stance on the use of U.S. missiles against Russia from Ukraine. So we will see. Somebody said, you mean when there's electrical failures? That from Warriors of Ramoth. Yes, it does seem that is going to be coming. We keep hearing those warnings from the FBI. Now, in addition to that, in addition to Russia saying that they're going to be handing off missiles to our enemies and allowing them to do whatever they want with them, we're also hearing that Belarus, they're going to be conducting joint nuclear drills alongside of Russia. This one coming out today as well from Politico. Belarus has said they're going to be exercising, there's going to be exercises that are necessary due to some Western countries that plan to use military force against our state. And I shared with you yesterday how it is that we're now hearing that NATO is preparing for attacks against Russia, and they've already put together plans, paths for U.S. ground troops to make their way across to Russia. The United States getting involved. That is the plans that are underway. Now, Belarus will participate in nuclear drills with Russia, its defense ministry said on Monday. The exercises are a reaction to unsuccessful attempts to drag Belarus into an epidemic of color revolutions and crush us with economic sanctions. And some Western countries, they plan to use military force against us as well. The Belarusian defense minister, Viktor Karenin, said in a post on Telegram. It's the second time that Belarus and Russia, they have practiced deploying nuclear weapons together, with the first stage of the joint maneuvers taking place last month in Russia's southern military district, which includes parts of Ukraine partially occupied by Russia. Russian President Vladimir Putin first announced on March of 2023 that Russia would store tactical nuclear weapons on Belarusian soil. Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko confirmed in December that there were warheads that had been transported to Belarus, though he did not say where or how many. So exactly what's happening with Belarus, we're hearing also the warnings with Mexico, with Cuba, Venezuela, Iran, North Korea, China, Russia saying that they are willing to supply the enemies of the U.S. with these, and we're hearing that Belarus is housing these as well. Now, the move was widely interpreted as a warning to the West, to the United States, against interference with Moscow's war in Ukraine as it grinds on. Lukashenko said last June that Belarus would use the weapons with no hesitation if the nation was attacked, singling out NATO members and neighbor Poland as a potential threat to Belarus. Now, Krenin did not elaborate on when or where the latest drills would take place. He added that they were not intended to provoke third countries or anyone else, but the Belarus would keep gunpowder dry. That is what was stated by them. And again, these drills, they're saying they're planning to conduct alongside of Russia in preparation for what could be coming with attacks, they're saying, from the West, from the United States, against Belarus, against Russia. Things are intensifying significantly, and Russia sending out those warnings, and the U.S. also giving out those warnings as well. So, man, things are intensifying. Now, let me know your thoughts. I saw a lot of people saying Trump 2024. Do you think that Trump will be doing a better job? If so, put your support for former President Donald Trump with a 45 in the comments. If you think Biden is going to be better than Trump, put a 46. I'd be curious to see what people think right now. Jack Quigley, thank you for the $2 super chat. Said get an extra device plus solar batteries plus a Faraday bag. Yes, to help block those EMP strikes. Look at all the 45s pouring in. People thinking that former President Donald Trump will be able to do a significantly better job than current President Joe Biden and the administration. People not happy with the way that things are unfolding. I'm seeing a 47. Somebody saying they think that somebody else could probably do a better job than 45 or 46. Aspen saying we are in World War III. BA Technologies, thank you again for supporting the channel, hitting that join button. All of these will pop up in your feed as a result. All of the articles that I referenced, they'll just pop up in the feed. But if you're not able to support the channel, that's totally fine. I still cite all the sources for you in the description anyways. And I'm seeing tons of 45s. Bola Ramos BX is saying rumors of wars. This is biblical prophecy. Yes, I've heard that coming out from a lot of people. Wars and rumors of wars right now. We literally heard in the beginning of the year, as soon as it turned, people were saying 2024, this is the year of war. Prepare for what's going to be unfolding with everything taking place, all the global conflict that is going on. The end times are here. Says everyone hit that like button. Let's get the number up to 1,000. We're currently at 818 likes. Thank you for that. Yeah, if you haven't hit the like button yet, please do so. Getting over 1,000, that would be awesome. Thank you for the support, you guys. Appreciate it a ton. I'll make sure to do my best to keep you guys up to date on everything so you know exactly what is taking place. And again, just hit subscribe, turn on that notification bell so you can stay up to date. I've had several people tell me that they've been unsubscribed from the channel. I'm not really sure how that's happening. I heard other people saying that's happening on other channels too. I don't know if YouTube just starts unsubscribing you or what the deal is, but just make sure that you stay subscribed and you turn on that notification bell to all. So as soon as breaking news comes out, you can be notified of it right away. 45 still pouring in, all the 45s. The support for former President Donald Trump, and people saying they think that he would do a better job than current President Joe Biden. Amy saying we need to take back our country. David says war is coming. Rebel says 46 for prison. Let's see here. Brian Track Hurricane says they said it's fake news. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. I'm seeing a lot of people saying that they think that we really are in the middle of potentially World War III if we haven't already started. But still, there are some people that are saying it's fake news. I don't know. We will see. Hopefully, we can go the direction of avoiding potential global conflict, but we will see. Erica says you got to stop setting. You have got to go to settings and put what you want to see in your subscriptions. Okay. So for the people that aren't getting subscribed, she's saying you got to do something in the settings for subscriptions. G. Nicholson saying it's facts that World War III has already started. Well, we will see you guys. I will keep you guys up to date. Yeshua is King is saying it is not fake, that this is real news. And whatever unfolds, I'll keep you up to date. I'll cite all the sources. I'll do my best to make sure you guys got the latest information so you know exactly what's going on. But thank you guys so much for the support. I will keep you up to date. And as more information comes out, I'll make sure to share. Take care, you guys. God bless. This is Steve.